Hello, hello, my friends. Another dedicated candle review for you today. We are going to be talking about Caramel Sunday's Autumn Jam. I can't believe that I don't have a review of this already on my channel, but when I was looking through my catalog of Caramel Sunday's candles, I realized that no, I don't have a review of this up already. And this is a fragrance, in my opinion, that is very much deserving of one. So now that I am at the halfway point of this 2-wick, I thought that I would share my thoughts with you guys. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you already know what my thoughts are. But for those who may be new or maybe down the pipeline, if they are looking for some dedicated thoughts on this candle, I thought that it would be good to go ahead and share those. So this candle that I'm reviewing for you guys is one of the 2-wick vessels. There are about 18 ounces of 100% soy wax. Caramel Sundays is a clean brand. They are REACH compliant. No phthalates, parabens, VOCs, all the things that we are concerned about. They are a small business. Autumn Jam is not going to be available in the August restock. I am not sure if it will make a reappearance in September. However, I know that this is a fragrance that a lot of you guys picked up in the July restock upon my recommendation. And I have a feeling that this is one that will likely stick around in their fall collection. Maybe it'll make a reappearance, in the best of the year that they are tentatively planning on doing in December. I don't know, you guys. But again, I figured that because this is one that I think is going to stick around, it would probably be a good idea for me to document my thoughts on. I did have this candle in 2025. I had to think about what year it was. I did have this in 2025. Clearly, I repurchased it, which tells you my general idea of what I think about this candle. All right, Autumn Jam has fragrance notes of apple and clove, cranberry, spice, wood, and dried clove. All right, you guys, why do I love this fragrance so much? To me, this is like a quintessential nostalgic early fall in the 90s type of fragrance. Don't ask me why. I was a child in the 90s, and so a lot of that time era is very, very nostalgic for me. To me, my nose definitely picks up on apple and cranberry in here. They're a beautiful blend. This is not as apple forward as, say, Oat Orchard. And I would even argue that the clove in here is not as forward as, say, Fall Gathering. Fall Gathering, to me, definitely clove is more prominent to me. I think it's because the other fruit notes in there. I think there's like a peach note in there. But this to me is just a beautiful sweet cranberry with the apple. The apple lends, I think, the sweetness, because cranberry in and of itself sometimes can lean a little bit tart. But I think the way that the two of them play off of each other in this fragrance is just absolutely beautiful. They provide a good balance. It doesn't become overly sweet and syrupy, but it does not also get too tart. Like Witching Hour, for example. I know that's another fragrance that a lot of people love, but the cranberry in that fragrance comes across a little bit too tart to me. And I think that is probably amplified by, I think there's like a ginger butter note in that my nose does not really care for. But in here, I absolutely love it. Also in here, which you guys are going to see, is an additional spice note in here. Now, to me, this is not like overtly cinnamon. I think, again, that it is lending a little bit of maybe of some like warmth to this fragrance. Spice does that to my nose. It makes a fragrance feel a little bit more cozy and inviting. It's not like overly baking spice. Like this to me isn't like a bakery gourmand type of fragrance. It's more of like fruity, I would say, which I tend to like. But I'm going to tell you, I think what seals the deal on this candle is the wood and dried clove. That base note in there provides just a slight element of earthiness to it. And again, it's not earthiness like we're accustomed to, say, with Kringle candle. They definitely lean a lot more earthy. but I feel like it grounds this fragrance again from becoming too much, too sickeningly sweet, too much. Especially the name would imply autumn jam, right? Which you would think would be really, really sweet. And there is sweetness to it, but I feel like the wood and the dried clove in the base notes provide a little bit more complexity and depth to this candle. And again, it's just a very, very well balanced fragrance. I absolutely love this. A lot of people say that it kind of gives them craft store vibes. And I would say to me, it's not like a generic, like walking into Michael's or something. To me, this very much smells like, I talked about this on my channel. Cody and I, for years, went up to a small town up in the White Mountains in eastern Arizona. Yes, if you guys are not familiar, Arizona is actually half of the state is very, very mountainous, higher terrain, higher elevation. If you ever plan to go to the Grand Canyon, just know that that is it's very high elevation where that's at. You're going to be surrounded by pine trees and forest, actually, before you walk up to the canyon and see the expanse of it. I think that's one of the things that makes it such a natural wonder. It's absolutely stunning. But up towards eastern Arizona, there is a small little town called Greer, and we used to rent a cabin every summer and go up there. And there was this small little like antique cabin right on the banks of the little Colorado River called the Quacker Barrel. And it was just the cutest little store. Again, kind of like a lot of little, little towns that thrive on tourism. It had little, mountain chat skis and little artwork and all that kind of stuff, right? Little knickknacks. But when I smell this candle, it reminds me of what that building smelled like. You've got like the cranberry and like those fall. It kind of reminds you of fall, but also the building itself was like this old cabin, so you got wood, and that's what this smells like to me. I think that's why I like it. I just kind of it automatically makes me think of that little store. So yeah, love the fragrance. Now let's go ahead and talk about the performance of this candle. So I have this in a 2-wick. Spoiler alert, I also have this in a 4-wick. I almost bought the 5-wick during the last restock, but I decided to stick with the 4-wick. Here's the thing, you guys. The performance on this candle is quite good. I anticipate that my 4-wick will probably throw slightly better, but this is one of those fragrances that the longer that it burns, it gets a little bit stronger. For me personally, I would say that this one is typically in a range of I would give this about a 7. I have not burned my 4-wick yet, but I anticipate that the 4-wick is going to be slightly stronger, again, just because that tends to be my experience. I find that I can smell this candle out in my open concept living room when I have it in a hurricane. It takes a little bit longer for me to smell it, whereas when I burn this in a closed concept bedroom, it performs really well in there as well. Most 2-wicks, I'm going to say that's, you're probably going to get the best performance for them in a closed concept. But I do still smell this out in the open concept. I just feel like it's not as strong as when I burn it in a closed concept. That being said, this is not too strong in a closed concept for me. Some fragrances, I find that I actually have to burn them out in the open concept because they're too much for me in a smaller room. But I don't find that to be the case with this one. I can smell it out in the open concept, but I can also smell it in the closed concept. But again, I am always burning my candles in hurricanes. So keep that in mind. And you can see I've got a nice deep wax pool on this because I have been burning this now for, oh gosh, I've probably been burning this for about 4 hours now in a hurricane. So again, nice deep wax pool. You can see I'm not having any issues with the wicks. Nice clean wicks on this one. Sometimes Caramel Sundays candles or the wicks do like to sometimes curl down into the wax. So you need to keep an eye on that. I just have I use a wick dipper to extinguish my wick. So if I see that happening, I usually will just lift the wick up with the wick dipper. Sometimes it will extinguish when I do that, but then I just relight and I don't really have any issues. But yeah, really good performance from this one, you guys. I highly, highly recommend it. This is one of like my classic fall staple fragrances moving forward. This is one that if you guys know, as a reviewer, I don't repurchase a whole lot of fragrances unless they are absolute standout loves for me. So the fact that I had this one last year and I've repurchased it this year, I really enjoy it. This is a very different fragrance, if you are curious, from Homeworks' Harvest Leaves. Do I think that it would complement it? Yes. But it's not the same fragrance at all. That one has like a pumpkin note in it. I think that I like this one actually slightly better. And that's saying something because I really liked Harvest Leaves for a long time. I was telling somebody the other day that I got that out recently in my Luxe fragrance and lit it up, and I was not in love with it like I used to be. So I don't know, times they are a changing. But yeah, this is a very different fragrance from Harvest Leaves if you are curious. Again, would complement it, but not the same. Another fragrance that this one goes really nicely with, if you happen to have purchased it in the July restock, is Fall Farmhouse. That's actually what I'm burning it with this morning. I should have a review on that up this week for you as well. But let me know in the comment section if you purchased Autumn Jam. What do you think? Is this a repurchase for you? Is it a one and done? I would be really curious to hear your thoughts. If you found this review helpful, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing if you are new. Until my next one, you guys, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.